rolling out with the break of dawn. Canvas skies and the show goes on. Iron stakes and the hammer sound, building dreams on this muddy ground. With sawdust running through our veins, we do it for the faces in the crowd. Step right up with R&B, 'cause this ain't just a show, it's circus history.
Howdy, everyone, and welcome back to Off the Rail Podcast, your podcast for everything circus. We're your Off the Rail Ringmasters. I'm R. This is B. How you doing, B?
How's it going?
All right. I
We
lost you
lost
there
him
for
already.
today's
No,
today's guest we have Tina and Brian Miser, a canon act. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Human cannibals.
Cool. How
And
are
we
you
have a
guys?
special guest. We have a special guest joining us, our daughter Skyler.
Ah, yes. Sorry about that, Skyler. Awesome.
That's all right. You want to sit in the middle?
the third cannonball.
Hello. How are you?
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
So
Not too bad.
the first question we always ask all our guests is basically what got you to run away with the circus?
That's you, Brian.
Yeah, that would be me. Well, we live in Peru, Indiana. That's where we're from. And they have an amateur circus in the summertime for kids activity because Peru used to be a big historical, well, what is it?
A winter
Winter
quarters.
quarters, yeah. I'm screwing up already. So anyway, yeah, I joined the kids circus when I was 8 and got on a trampoline, and I was a natural acrobat. And I just did that every summer until I graduated high school. And then I ran away and went down to Orlando, Florida, and they had a amusement park called Circus World. And so I went down there and I auditioned, and they hired me on the spot, and I never came back home after going down there for a vacation. So that's how I got started.
What about you, young lady?
He said young lady.
That's either of them.
So, my father was transferred here to Peru with the Air Force, and so that's how we ended up in Peru. And same kind of story. I grew up performing with the kids' amateur circus in the summers, and met Brian 20 some years ago. 26?
Yeah, 99.
Woo! And we were just, adult volunteers for the program, and we started hanging out, and he had recently started building a cannon, and that was his pickup line to me was, "Hey, do you want to come shoot me out of this cannon?" So
That's awesome.
not many women could refuse that. So I said, yeah, absolutely. So we started dating that summer, and then he had some work lined up, and I went on the road with him. That was my first time on the road. And then poor Skyler was born into it.
She was born on the train.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah, I
that.
didn't have much of a choice, I like to say. Yeah, so I grew up, they were working on Ringling, so I was born during the tour. And when I was 7, my mom and I left the road. She wanted me to have a more normal childhood. So we came back home, I went to public school. He stayed on for another 2 years performing with Ringling, but now I'm back there.
What unit were you guys with, and what unit are you with? Oh wait, I guess there's no units anymore. I'm sorry. What unit were you guys
Yes.
with?
We were always with the red unit.
Woohoo! That's what we were with.
Yeah, our first year was called Bailey's Comet. It was 2003 was the start of that year.
Oh wow.
And I was Bailey's Comet.
Right on. So how would you say, so you being born into it and you were with them, how would you say Ringling is different today as opposed to when, there were units?
It's really different, but I think that you have to try to keep up with the times and what audiences today want to see, because the world is not the same as it was back when I was there. Um, I still really enjoy the show. I think it's great. I think that it's bringing a new wave of circus to the generations now.
I think for performers, behind the scenes, it's so different because we had the train, or like Brian and I, we had a RV, and so you had that, your private life or your off show life. You're at the train or you're at your RV, and you kind of had your little family unit there. And now everybody's in hotels. So your neighbor may be another person on the show with you, or it could be, a family on vacation that has nothing to do with the show at all. So that's a big difference, in my opinion, going and visiting Skyler on the road.
Sure.
Is that it's just so strange. You're missing that piece that we all got to enjoy, especially like when the RVs were parked on the train yard, and you'd have big punch parties, and
Yeah.
man, it was like so much fun. And now the parties are like, oh, you gotta be quiet by 11:30 because that's when the quiet hours for the hotel kick in.
We can
Oh,
only
yeah.
10 people in our room.
Right? Yeah, it's just like, oh.
I got a question for you, Brian. Where did you start in the circus? Because you haven't always done cannonball.
No,
right?
well, my specialty was trampoline. And when I went to Circus World, I did a little bit of flying trapeze here in Peru with the kids' circus. But when I went to Circus World, Faye Alexander, he was a famous trapeze flyer, and he did all the stunts in the movie Trapeze that was made in 1956, and he did the
Oh, wow.
flying trapeze stunts in The Greatest Show on Earth movie. So he's the one who hired me, and he told me that he says, you have some skills already on the trapeze, but you have a lot of bad habits because nobody really trained me. So he said, we're just going to start all over and going to learn how to swing. And then you can do the tricks already. You can see that on a trampoline. So once you learn to swing, then the tricks will come normal to you. So I ended up doing flying trapeze for 16 years before I started doing the cannon. So I started in 1981 as at Circus World, my professional career. So I've been doing it a long time because I'm old now, but still doing it. Proud to say that.
Nothing wrong with that.
What made you go to the cannonball?
My shoulders were getting a little sore, and I still wanted to be able to fly through the air and have an act that was just me instead of a troupe. So I ended up buying myself a welder one year for Christmas and decided, to start building things. And I was like, hey, you know what? I've always wanted to do a cannon. Said I'm going to build my own cannon. So I'm self-taught with everything with the cannon. Nobody shared information with me, or it's a big trade secret. So you have to figure it all out on your own, unless you got somebody to help you out. And nobody was willing to help me back then. So I learned the hard way.
So when you're doing the cannon performance, how does wind, temperature, humidity, does that all affect your launch?
Yeah, shooting outside is definitely, well, the cannon is stressful itself, but shooting outside adds another level. Um, he's gotten hurt plenty of times outside. We've all had our bumps and bruises, of course, but anything like the wind or the rain. So sometimes if we're doing a performance and it's windy or it's rainy, we'll try to schedule it, time it out right. But as if it's not dangerous enough, you're adding this extra
Sure.
level of danger.
Right?
Yeah,
Mother
I've been
Nature's no
hurt.
joke.
Yeah, I've been hurt by both the wind and the rain. One time we were doing a fair, and I just slid in the barrel, and Tina says, "Oh, it just started sprinkling." Okay, well let's shoot. Well, as soon as I hit the airbag, it just had like drips of rain on it, and it became a slip and slide. I hit and
no.
just kept going right off the bag. It never deflated, and I ended up
Oh.
like 10 feet on the far end of it because I slid off and dislocated my tailbone
Ooh.
um, and then shot with a headwind, and it caught me as soon as I came out and picked me up and turned me sideways, and I ended up like flopping on my neck and shoulders, and I was out of commission 9 months on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cow.
Yeah. And the wind's the worst because you don't know, it comes and goes all the time. The rain, all right, it's raining, it's pretty obvious.
Sure.
Yeah, so it gets a little stressful working outside.
Every year now, probably for the past 5 years, we keep saying, we're done shooting outside. We're done shooting outside. But we always end up,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, well, just this one time. Or 2 years ago, we got a contract to do Circus World in Baraboo, Wisconsin for the whole summer. So that was, kind of an important historical moment for us to be able to say we worked at Circus
Sure.
World.
Yeah.
So we took them up on the offer, and then it was probably like, 3 times a week. I'm like, why did we agree to do this? Shooting outside again. It was so stressful.
Right, here we go again.
Yeah.
But not only shooting outside, like if you're inside of a building, of course it's temperature controlled, but it still gets touchy with the temperature because it is a machine. So
Sure.
you have to think about, we keep a record of every shot we've ever done. So we will go and look at the temperatures from previous flights and try to figure out how to adjust.
Oh, okay. So I suppose
Yeah,
Have you
go
ever
for it, B.
no two shots are the same. You're always like, calculating to make with the conditions.
so have you ever stopped a shot during a performance because y'all felt uncomfortable?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Because logically that this is the safe thing to do, but you've got this audience sitting there with this expectation, and it's a killer to have to say, I can't do it. I can't do the shot.
Better to
And most
beg
of
for
them, they
forgiveness.
don't understand, So then you feel bad because that things are wrong, but they don't know,
Right,
which is
right.
good. Also, like, I promise I want to work. I'm not trying to get out
Yeah.
of it.
Sure.
And the worst is when you're inside ready to shoot and something happens,
Mhm.
with the cannon. And it's like, oh, we got to cancel it. And, yeah, I've been booed for that once.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There was some sort of electrical issue,
Yeah.
and the cannon kept malfunctioning. And where were we?
I don't know.
And
all
the
run
audience
together.
started booing when he crawled out of the barrel. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
I think
awful.
it might have been Madison Square Garden. For some reason that sticks out. Yeah.
I thought it was
no.
a shrine
Wow.
date in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Well, maybe it probably
You
happened
know
more
what,
than
though?
once.
The
Better-
memories kind of have run together, guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
hard
get
to-
that. We do that all the time too. But you know what? Better to make the news for being booed than to make the news for something much worse. So,
You're
Yeah.
right. You're
Yeah.
right.
so I take it then. Obviously, with that, there's probably you guys have a big pre-check that you do with the cannon. I'm sure you probably do it dozens of times before.
I always say it's like a newborn baby. You're checking on it as many times during
Sure.
the show as you can. Even though you've checked it before, you still never know what can go wrong.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty intense, but that way we know that we are safe, which is the most important.
100%.
Yeah, I used to refer to the cannon as my mistress. because I'd spend so much time with it.
Is
So Tina,
uh,
what was your first axe? Or was it cannon or
When I started dating Brian, I did a lyra act and also a high fall. And so I did that for several years and just sort of like that was an add on package to him being the cannonball. Um, and then I was practicing one summer. I wanted to learn to do the cannon. I was not real great at it, to be honest. I lacked the form. It was like every shot was different. It was pretty rough. I'm pretty sure Brian was like, "There's no way this woman is ever going to become a human cannonball." Um, but I ended up doing it, and it wasn't that good. But it was like I had the drive. I had the determination to do it. And then when we had started our first year on Ringling, and I was pregnant with Skyler, of course, I stopped doing everything. But once I had Skyler, I was determined. I was like, I'm going to get back in the cannon, and I'm going to learn to do it right. The cannon that we were practicing from originally was a much shorter barrel, so that takeoff really, really kicked you
oh
in the
boy.
back. It was difficult. So the new cannon that I got to practice from was a longer barrel, so it was a nice smooth takeoff, and I was finally able to conquer the cannon. So that's what got me to where I am today. It was a rough start.
Uh, what kind of G forces are you guys looking at when you do this? Have you ever measured that? Or
We calculated it's about 7 Gs,
Mhm.
which the fastest roller coaster in the world is 4.5.
Wow.
And you think they're completely strapped in, So we are flying at 7 Gs with nothing.
Holy
Yeah, and it's all at once. There's no like slow takeoff and then you speed up.
It's just
You're
there.
at that speed as soon as it fires.
It's about,
So
we
turn on
go
the button.
from 0 to 65 miles per hour in less than half a second. So you need to make sure that you are squeezing every single muscle inside of your body to prepare for that takeoff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you prep for that? Because like I know that well, you guys are the Air Force. You know that pilots they got those suits that squeeze all the blood up
Yeah.
toward their head when they're doing that. But holy
And
cow!
they're enduring a lot. The time frame that they're having to endure the G force is a lot longer than ours. So ours is a
That's true.
quick, here you go. So when we're inside the barrel, we are, you have to find that perfect position for you, and you're squeezing every muscle that you have so that you can take off.
Wow. You ever have any? You ever have anybody come close to blacking out doing that?
No, it's just for us, it's too quick
Okay.
for that to happen.
And I think you're really like nervous. So then you're really awake and
Oh yeah,
prepared
your adrenaline's
what's
pumping.
about to happen. Because as soon as it's one, you come out and then the airbag is there. So for us, we've done it enough times that it feels like slow motion. Like we feel every millisecond, and you land in the bag and you can say, oh, at this point in the flight, I did this. And you end up figuring out how to be better prepared. But yeah, most people, when they first start out, about 7 out of 10 times they land on their head, which
Their first shots.
it's
Yeah.
just, it happens. It's a normal part of the process. But they're normally pretty awake and the adrenaline is kicking.
Very nice. This is a question for all three of you. Would y'all shoot yourselves out of the first cannon that Zell, I believe, was the first human ball?
Well, we looked at one of those pictures yesterday. It looks a little bit scary.
Yeah, they say Giselle was the first woman or the first human cannonball ever, and she was a woman.
Yep.
I'd have to do some serious checks and have him look at it and make sure
Yeah.
everything's
I think she
okay.
didn't go very far
Yeah.
either. I think she probably was flying maybe like 30 feet, which is what we would do on our first shot and when we were all learning. So Yeah, once Brian gave the cannon its, head to toe examination, I'd be like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, we actually
Very
acquired one of the zucchini cannons earlier this year, and it was the first double cannon where two people shot out one following the other,
Oh
and it
wow.
was built in 1933. So I am currently restoring that thing and going to get it operational. So
Oh
it's been
wow.
a fun project.
Oh, very nice.
What, that's not a word?
No.
Operational? That's not a word,
Operational.
operational?
You just say operational, not operationable.
This is why he
Double.
wants us to talk.
I take it you guys don't play Scrabble much, huh? That's
Definitely not a family game for us. That was good.
um.
So, have you guys found any cool artifacts inside this truck,
Oh my
or
gosh.
Tina?
It was quite a procedure. We were wearing goggles and N95 masks, totally gloved, to empty the cannon out because the cannon was sitting outdoors in Alabama for
Like since 1983 in that same spot.
yeah.
Holy.
So a lot of animals had made it a
Mhm.
home. So we had a lot of animal waste,
Yeah.
nutshells that had been broken up, and a lot of houses for their little animals there, a lot of nests. So I think some of the coolest things that we found was like a container of the red dot powder that they use for the boom. Still had powder in it. That was
That's
pretty
cool.
neat. We found a lot of like religious iconography. So we found crosses. We found little plaster portraits of kids kneeling at the bed praying.
A lot of
Nice.
gas receipts. Which
Yeah, we
it's
did.
nice to know because human cannonballs today still save their gas receipts.
We have all their receipts that they used when they were traveling from America down to South America. So we have like the border crossing documents.
Oh wow.
It was really just neat to get into that kind of stuff.
We found teeth.
We did. We found
found
somebody's teeth.
Okay, that's
I told Skyler I was gonna get somebody to make like a little necklace,
Oh,
with the teeth for Christmas. She was like, "No, no, thanks."
yeah, that's a little Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, we did find some beautiful capes,
Well, they used
and
to
yeah, they've been eaten, and but I think we'll be able to save some of the edging, the embroidery. Just like amazing. I have not found any pictures of the Zucchini family wearing a cape, for their show. So I'm thinking maybe it was like the wives or daughters or something. Maybe they wore them for a production number in one of the circuses that they were in. We just haven't found any photographic evidence to link these capes to the Zucchini family, but yeah.
Now, for those that don't know, the zucchinis were the first. They were like the ones to like perfect the cannon being consistent with the way it would shoot.
Yeah, they were the first human cannonball family in the United States. So they were brought over by P.T. Barnum, and they were the first human cannonballs on Ringling and also in the United States. So it's cool that we have that cannon now.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. All right. So there is a point where there's a question we always ask everybody, and I'm going to ask it, especially since you guys have been on the units. Pie stories. Have you been pied for your birthday? And have you pied somebody for their birthday? And what's your favorite story behind that?
Have you ever been pied?
I don't know. I remember pieing Pyro Girl though. Out on the floor because I was out there doing the fire shop with Bailey's Comet, and she was there,
Yeah.
and I had to pie out on the floor. It was in the dark, and ended up getting her.
I think I was only pied once, and that was when I was pregnant, and everybody was like, "I'm not going to do it to Tina because she's pregnant, and that's bad." but one of the clowns was like, "Oh no, I'll do it."
Of course.
Yeah, they didn't care. It was funny.
Yeah, it was fun having clowns on the show. It's kind of missed now with the new
Yeah.
edition.
Skylar spent a lot of her youth in Clown Alley because we had friends on the show that they just loved Skylar, so they would go to the nursery and grab her, and I'd go to the nursery and they'd be like, "Oh, Dave and Sherry took Skylar." We're like, "Oh, okay." So she would sit in the Clown Alley and she'd watch the clowns, take their makeup on and off, and
Nice.
she was always hanging out there. If the
Was
Brazilians didn't get a hold of her, because the Brazilian girls love to get a hold of Skylar too.
So, Skylar, have you been pied, or have you? I'm sure you've seen people get pied.
I have not. I guess I've been secondhand pied from.
Yeah, you were.
Oh yeah, or being pregnant. Yeah.
But no, I was still like, I don't imagine they would do that to a little kid at the time.
A lot of the traditions that we all remember are not being carried over to the new Ringling. So, like the existence of a pie car, kids don't know what that is today.
Oh yeah.
And the smell.
Being pied, is that something that they're doing on the show at all?
No.
Yeah, they don't even do that.
Oh wow.
I think a lot of the old traditions that are not there anymore could be from a lot of different things, but I think the main one is, they took a 6-year break, and then when they came back, everybody was new. There was probably maybe out of 150 people, maybe 7 had been on a Ringling show before. So, and it was in the later years, so not even like back in the good old days, like I like to say.
Well,
yeah, I think there was probably four people, including Skylar, who spent a significant amount of their time on the old Ringling shows. So all of like the superstitions and the terminology and the traditions, it's not being carried forward, which is kind of like heartbreaking.
Your legacy. You got to keep that going. You got to sneak that in there
Right?
somewhere.
I'm trying, but they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, I promise we did these things. This is very normal.
Oh.
Yeah, when I go there and visit now, it's not the same at all. I mean, it's like nobody, backstage we used to have fun all the time. You would go out on the outside and the pie car was out there and you had the animal compound out there and people were always just hanging out, during the show when they didn't have cues and playing around, and that doesn't happen now. I don't know, it's weird. It's like not a lot of atmosphere like there used to be there.
It's more of a production show now.
Yeah. It's not so.
Yeah. Like everything's timed out.
I think it got better though as the tour went on.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful in the beginning.
Yeah, because nobody in any of the positions had ever done this before. A lot of people had never even toured before. So it was just like this huge learning curve. And then by the end, it started to like become maybe more what we remember, where people were joking around backstage and, doing. Skylar liked to do practical jokes on people, just kind of having a nice, fun atmosphere backstage. So I think that the next tour will be a lot better.
What?
Awesome. So going back to the older days, how long did y'all spend on the circus train?
We had a train just for the first tour. And then really, Brian only took one train run because he got motion sick and claustrophobic.
Which is ironic, considering he's a human.
Wait.
Yeah, right.
The human cannonball gets motion sick.
Yeah.
And claustrophobic. That's what's.
But the first year, like I was pregnant with Skylar, so I took all the train runs because it was way more comfortable than riding in a truck. And then once Skylar was born, it was like that second year of the tour, we kind of stayed in the train, but we ended up getting our RV from home, and we started to transition to RV life. And then the second tour, we forfeited our room and just stayed in the RV.
So I was going to ask, we normally ask everyone, what was your most memorable train run?
Oh man. Probably for me, it was the ones, I don't know. Now I'm going to have to think about that. I had a really nice train run. It was like, more on the West Coast. And so they were longer and the scenery was so different than growing up in Indiana. I used to make cookies because I had an oven in my room. So I would make cookies, and they would, that smell would travel through the car and everybody would be like, what are you making? Are you sharing? And then after Skyler was born, my mom came and stayed with me for a little bit. And so that was kind of fun to take a train run with baby Skyler and my mom. And so I have a lot of good memories of the train, even though we weren't there the whole tour.
Yeah, that's cool, especially if you got pictures. You got 3 generations on one run.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. So Sky, she mentioned you like doing pranks. What's a good, memorable prank that you pulled on
Most
somebody?
of the time, the pranks I would do would be on our staff who had been on Ringling before, so they knew kind of this is normal, and also
Rob?
yes, and
Alfie.
they love to do pranks. These guys, so you were a culprit in me doing one of the pranks. I knew when the staff was out from the office, so I would go and tape up their doors so they couldn't get in. Just always trying to lighten the mood because I know that that's a really stressful job. And some of the things that they have to deal with are just crazy. So I tried to make it like a circus,
No, it's a circus. The things they had to deal with.
She did like the most elaborate basket weave of masking tape on their door for their office. It was really impressive. And I remember one of the managers came around the corner and he was like, who has time for this? And then he was like, Skyler. He knew exactly who did it.
That is fantastic. I once put the one guy we interviewed, the last train master. He had me watch his house once, and he had a pool, and the house sat vacant for I forget how many years. So the pool was basically rainwater. The night before he came home, I went down to the pet store and I got 200 goldfish to put in his and then we acted like we were surprised. We're like, oh my god, because there was a cover on it. And we took the cover off. We see these goldfish, and I almost had him convinced for the next hour to turn his entire pool into an aquarium. And then he finally says, that would be expensive. And I said, well, the goldfish weren't. He goes, what?
That was nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, be good for
circus people, we know how to have fun.
And be creative.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you spent a lot of time in Clown Alley. Here goes an interesting question. I'm not going to try to get you in trouble because I know you're currently touring with Ringling. Where do you see clowning heading in 2026 versus where it has been?
That's a great question. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like it's done a complete change within the past 5 years and the 5 years before that. I grew up always watching the clowns always put on all their makeup and get ready for the show. But most traditional clowns that you see now don't do elaborate makeup, I think the It movie, the remake of it, really kind of scared people. And
Yeah.
It makes me sad because I know that they're just playing a character, but that's common knowledge for me and not the average Joe. Um, I would love to see the whole circus business like go back. My favorite movie is The Greatest Show on Earth, and I always think of that whenever I think of the circus. So I would love to see it go back to then, but I think it might take a while.
Right on. Uh, Brian, is
Mm.
there? I know you this was said earlier. You kind of self-taught doing the cannons, and you said there's trade secrets. Is there anything you can tell us without giving away secrets of the inner workings of a cannon and how you guys are shot out of it?
Oh, not really. I mean, I was when I decided I was going to build a cannon and do that. I spent like a whole year. I mean, that's all I would do was thinking about how I could make it work, and so I do it a lot on paper, uh, trying to come up with different techniques. And I was working at an amusement park for the summer with the flying trapeze, and I would like go around to the rides, and I would look at the mechanics of how things would work. And um, so then, when I finally thought I came up with an idea, I ended up made a little 1 inch scale and would shoot Barbie dolls out of it. And it's like, hey, that system works. Well, that's how I came up with it.
I think the cool thing about the
I was gonna ask.
cannon, there's so many, well, not so many people, but all of the cannons in the world are different. So we don't really know how the other cannons work. We have an idea, but it's very secretive, which is kind of alluring.
Yeah, like this old zucchini cannon, the thing's 92 years old. And I'm in there working on that. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool the way they did this. And, it's just, to me, the technology or the engineering back then
It's genius.
for this thing was pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that was a good idea doing that like that. And so um, we keep debating who's going to be the first one to try out the cannon. Who wants to be the guinea pig for it? So hopefully by next summer, they'll be shooting out of it.
Nice.
Right? I like the way I did that.
What is your physical demand, like training schedule, like besides getting in the cannon and being shot out of it? What do you do to prepare for something like that?
Drink a lot.
You have to, because the cannon is a lot of pressure on your body. So you get really tight in your hips and your lower back. So you have to do a lot of stretches to try to decompress, but also warm up your muscles. Really, the big thing is on takeoff, make sure that you are squeezing every single muscle possible. If your position is a little bit different, your flight's going to be different. We do a lot of stretches. We do. I don't know so much about him, but it's stressful. But we always say that the cannon is more mental than physical. Yeah. So it is obviously a physical act and taxing on your body, but mentally, if you get in and you have a bad flight, the next show, that's all you're thinking about is, what did I do wrong? How can I fix it? You're just nervous. So there's a lot of people that can do it physically, but mentally is another thing.
Yeah, it's really hard on the lower
Yeah,
back, neck.
Everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole body. For me personally, I have to do a lot more than Brian and Skyler do to keep my body ready. They were naturally born with this nice slender frame, and Brian he'll not do anything for months on end, and he'll just climb back in the cannon and get shot out again. Versus me, I have a lot more dedicated routine to lifting weights and running and doing yoga. but I think what Skylar said about the mental versus physical part is it's so true. And that's the number one thing that we've run into when we've trained other cannonballs is you've got to have this mental state that is unique where you can have a terrible flight and you are still going to approach the cannon the next day for your next show with determination to get it right. And sometimes, I mean, that's like the hardest 24 hours of your life when you're replaying in your mind what went wrong on that last flight, and you have to get back in there. And that can wear and tear on people, and it can become what eventually ends their cannon career is that that mental stress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you said you train other cannon people. So do y'all have like a
Yeah,
boot camp?
a little bit. We do. We've trained quite a few people over the years.
I know Nicole,
Yes.
right?
Nicole was the last
one.
Mm-hmm.
cannonball we trained for Ringling. We've
So-
trained people since then. But
Yeah, so once he left Ringling, we still had a contract to have the cannon there, and they would send people our way, and they would train them and hopefully send them to perform on Ringling. So I think we calculated it was like five
girls over the years.
Yeah,
For ring.
for Ringling,
Ringling,
but
yeah.
there's been other
Caught
people
others,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you?
Nicole had it like from the start, not physically, but mentally. She was determined, and later on when we talked with her more about those initial first days of training, only then did she reveal like how taxing it had been on her body physically and how much pain she was in. And she never let it on to us. Like we had suspicions like, man, that was a rough landing. She's got to be hurting. But she would get up out of the airbag. She'd be like, I'm ready. We can go again. And we were like, oh, damn, this girl's got it.
Yeah, I remember the first
Yeah.
shot. She landed like right there. I mean,
Ooh.
just like that. We were like, oh
Wow.
shit, she's done. I'm sorry. And then she's like sitting there for about 20, 30 minutes, and she's like, okay, let's do it again. And we did like 10 shots that day. And each time she was on her head, but it would get less and less each shot.
Oh, so you're learning.
Yeah.
Oh, poor thing.
So, yeah.
The training process is not fun at all.
Yeah.
I bet.
The shows are fabulous, because you've got it. But training is miserable.
Yeah.
It really is. I think it's harder mentally training than it is during the
sure.
show.
Yeah, trying to get yourself pumped up and psyched up to get shot out of the cannon, and there's like two people there, and they're like your coaches, and all they're going to do is critique you.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
awful. It's awful.
What you do is you start off your training sessions with some Super Dave Osborne videos and say, "Don't do this."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She did tell me, she said, well, it takes me a little bit to get it, but once I got it, I got it. And so, yeah, after,
that's good.
a few practices, we were like, hey, we're going to go, get something to eat. You want to go? No, I'm going to go back to the hotel. And then later she told me, she says, oh, I wanted to go so bad, but I was hurting so much, I would just go sit in the tub with Epsom salt.
Oh wow.
But she didn't want she didn't want to tell us that she was in pain. So, yeah, she was a tough one.
Yeah.
I remember I was there with Gemma and Nicole, but I spent more time with Nicole, and she stretched every second outside of.
Mhm.
She was always leaning, stretching on
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So
You
That's why
have
I
to
asked.
counter that, what the cannon has done to your body.
Yeah, you
Wow.
sit for too long and like he's
Yeah.
moving over there, everything stiffens up. So we're always doing something.
We
to
just-
stay warm.
The three of us just took a trip together, and we got out of the truck like to go at the gas station, and it was awful.
We were
Like to
all,
watch all of us like
waddling.
little
Oh.
old people, because you sit too long and your hip flexors start to shorten, and then you go to stand up and you're like, oh,
Yeah, we were all
Yeah.
laughing.
God, this is terrible.
Road trip with the human cannonballs. Nobody can walk.
What would you say the biggest misconception people have about how the cannon works is?
There's a lot.
Yeah, everybody, that's the first question they ask. Well, how's that thing work? Say, well, it's a trade secret. Well, I don't plan on doing it. And you say, well, then you really don't need to know. But they get mad at you for not telling
Yeah.
them. And they're like, well, that's a crap. I'm about to say it again.
Yeah.
And
We got
Yeah.
to beat them.
yeah, so it's funny because they get mad that you won't tell them how it works. So
I think too, a lot of people
But-
don't think the cannon is as dangerous as it is, and they're like,
yeah,
if I had a cannon, I could do it.
Mhm.
Like they. I'm not sure why they're angry about it. If if they don't have a cannon, it's not going to be a career for them. But they kind of dismiss the dangerousness.
Is that a word?
Dangerousness.
I don't think so. That's as bad as mine.
They dismiss the risk. Let's say that.
Yeah, they think oh, I can do that. But yeah, it'll shoot you. But what you do after that's the problem.
Right.
Sure.
Normally, when they won't let up about how it works, what do you tell them how it works?
Oh, I make up a bunch of stuff.
It's a reverse magnetic flux
Flux
capacitor.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's
Oh,
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that.
That is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I think my dad is the one who came up with that. So my dad traveled with us for a little bit, and so he would chit chat with the people. So he came up with that reverse magnetic flux capacitor.
That is greatness.
I told people that the pie car ran off a flux capacitor.
Nice.
They believed me.
Right.
The cool thing is you can order one of those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know O'Reilly's Auto Parts for the longest time you could order.
Yeah.
I saw that. I
Yeah.
saw that you put that part number in, and it's
Yeah.
a flux capacitor. I was dying.
I need to put one on the cannon.
Yeah, I think the part number is 1.21 GW, which was funny.
Yeah.
So this would be a question for all three of you. What has been some of the closest calls that made you think, okay, I need to reevaluate what's going on?
I think there's been a lot. Mine was more mentally. It was kind of a rough tour for me. At the beginning, they would travel with me until they had to go work other places. So I was left to tend to this giant machine. And I don't know what I was doing, if I was doing anything wrong, but it would just break, like constantly break. And at the time, there wasn't really anybody on the show that could help me fix it. So he would have to make emergency trips to come in and help me fix it. So that was it for me. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I keep breaking it. Eventually, we figured it out.
So,
Hopefully, that doesn't happen again.
so for you, it was more the maintenance than
Well, yeah, because I didn't know.
flighting.
No, because the flying is the glory part. It's everything else. The load-ins, the load-outs, the setups. That's really the stressful part.
The pre-flights. For me, I've had a few. I went to Japan and a weld broke from being transported and unloaded without me being there.
Oh no.
And when I shot it, that weld broke and it bounced and moved to the left, and I come flying out,
No.
and the airbag is on the right side of me, and I ended up doing like a half twist, hit the edge of the bag and bounced out, hit a scaffolding because the airbag was hidden behind that, and I broke 5 bones on that one. So that was one of those, like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, there I did it again.
And then he came back to the States and started building a cannon. So
Yeah.
despite that horrific accident, where he was literally hobbling around during his recovery. His first focus was, I'm going to build a cannon that's going to be a smoother takeoff.
Or safer.
So the moral of Brian's story is when he gets injured,
Yes,
he goes
Yeah.
swimming.
he channels
Yeah.
his energy into something productive.
Well, that worked out because I came back to the States to heal, and that's where I met Tina during that time I was healing.
Well, there you go. See, it happened for a reason.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
The thing about the cannon is once you do it and once you fall in love with it, nothing will compare.
Mhm.
So, like roller coasters, well, he doesn't like to go on them because motion sickness. But it's all like very lackluster, you know? Like there's nothing that the world can give you that the cannon, well, no. There's nothing that the what
Oh,
am I
you
trying
got
to
your
say
dad's
here?
disease.
Oh, jeez. I've been sitting with him too long. The cannon will just give you something else that nothing else will.
Sure.
It's very hard to go from being a human cannibal to being anything else. I remember I was determined that I was going to leave the circus business, raise Skyler in a normal
Hmm.
town with public schooling. And I went back to school and I became a nurse. And I remember just some of those times when you're doing the most disgusting thing that you can imagine that you have to go through as a nurse. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Like, and I had this job that was very stressful. And Brian was like trying to lure me back into the circus business. And I was like, no, it's been too long. I haven't been shot out in like 4 years. And it didn't take too much of convincing though. When I was like, if I go back and I do these dates for you, can I quit? Can I quit my job? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, let me work on my resignation letter. So yeah, it just, obviously it has its ups and downs. It's got a lot of stress, and of course traveling in and of itself is stressful. You don't get to stay in a nice house. You're always traveling on to the next city, but something about it.
Yeah, this is the best business in the world, like the funnest. Really, I don't want to imagine having to do anything else.
Sure.
Very nice. So when Ringling closed, y'all guys got a piece of that train.
We
I
did.
heard.
This is a little model of the train that our model builder friend Jim Cole made for us. You know the facts.
What was that process like, getting a train to
That was
Peru?
crazy.
Yeah. Well, dealing with the railroad was the worst. 'Cause I had to get it from New Jersey to Peru, Indiana from the railroad. So ended up knowing some people that work on the railroad, and they helped me, try to figure out logistics. And I think it took 6 weeks before it started traveling to get here. So it came into the rail yard in Peru, which was 8 miles away, and so hired a tow truck company to tow it. So they actually just had a crane and a tow truck on one end. They picked it up and put semi-trailer tires in the middle of the train car, to welded them on, and then he just towed it down the highway at 15 mile an hour. So it took 12 hours from start to finish before it was sitting on our tracks. So it was a long, fun day.
Our neighbors are not surprised by anything we do at this point.
Brian had the tracks were donated to him by a local businessman, and so he had the tracks already installed, waiting for the train. And then it was just impressive to watch the crane operator and the tow truck operators work in conjunction. They've never worked together before, and they'd never moved a train car before, but it was like that's what they did every day. They were just so amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had it was
And y'all guys are restoring it?
We're not sure what we're gonna do with it right now. If you guys came and opened up the door, you'd be like, this wave of nostalgia would hit you.
It's exactly.
It still
how
smells
it
the
was.
same.
Yeah.
Everything is exactly the same as when it left the road. We haven't done anything to it except for clean it, and it is clean, but it still has that train smell.
Which car number
Um,
did you get from which unit?
It was from the red.
yeah, it's 41, car 41 from the
Oh,
red. So it
huh.
has two half or 2/4 cars, and then on the other half it has 3 rooms. And they all each have their own
Yeah.
shower, toilet, stove. You know the car?
Yeah, we knew some people that stayed in 41.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was down near the pie car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was actually in pretty good shape. Didn't have to do too much to it besides clean it really well, and ran electric to it, and ended up getting a residential air conditioning unit for it because otherwise it was 3-phase and don't have 3-phase on the property.
I don't know if you guys remember the porter. She went by the name Turtle.
Yeah, I know Turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
she knew that we were going to get that car, and she was the porter on that car, and so she just started taking really good care of it. I mean, even above and beyond what she normally would do, and like she was just so happy that we were going to get that car, and so right from the notification, we just knew that the car was in good hands, and yeah, we keep talking about what we're going to do with it because we've had our other daughter Brianna, she got married, and so the whole bridal party stayed on the train, and we had like a
Oh, wow.
3-day party, and the train was all lit up, and everybody was just having a good time. And it was like that was pretty cool to be able to use the train for that purpose. And then sometimes we think about maybe we should just gut the whole thing and turn it into like a 1-bedroom, suite, or I don't know. We can't decide, so it still sits. It's intact, just like it left the road.
Right on. Actually, I have a question regarding back to Canon. What's you guys' records on furthest shot?
Mine's I think at 127. I build my cannons for indoor arenas, so they're the longer the barrel, the longer your shot can be. So I just I kind of keep mine where I can work pretty much anywhere. Yeah, that's mine.
But Brian's been shot how many times now?
Yeah, over 8,000 times.
Holy smokes.
Probably over 2,000 of those have been on fire.
Whoa. Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
that's actually how we got to be on Ringling in the first place. I was Bailey's Comet, where I was lit on fire inside the cannon, and then flew out.
Oh my goodness. So what goes through your mind when they light you up? Or like, are you just
That's
saying,
crazy.
"Hey, hurry up and shoot me," or what's like?
Yeah, well, same thing. Nobody's ever done that before, so we had to figure it out. Tina was in charge of finding material for me to not get burnt, and I was trying to figure out how to make everything work where I could light and not blow the cannon apart. So actually, I thought about doing it, for a couple of years, and then when I hooked up with Tina, I was telling her about it, and she's like, "Oh, I think you should do it." I was like, "Yeah." I was wondering where I was going to work it, and you know what? I'm going to call Ringling and see if they're interested. So I called Tim Holtz. He was the casting director for a long time there, and told him I was doing it, which I'd never done it before, just to see if he's interested. "Oh yeah, we're interested." Okay. I said, "Well, let me work on it a little bit more, and I'm traveling now, but I'll have some time in the summer to finish putting it together." So got off the phone with him, told Tina, we got to get busy. They're interested. So that's how that started.
I think we were talking about records. I'm in my 6,000s of my shots, and the farthest I've ever shot is just right at 100 feet. I've never really wanted to go further than that. And Skyler, she shoots at just around 100 feet too. But your shot number what?
I'm right under 550. So got a long way to go to catch up to these guys. But we always make jokes about, right now I'm the youngest and he's the oldest, which is fun.
Yeah, so instead of being, there's only so many things you can do with the cannon. They shoot you, so what do you do with it? So I always try to be more creative about how can I make it a little more exciting and make it a little different, so I went on Ringling first and we did the fire shot, Beatty's Comet. And then I built a double cannon where Tina and I would shoot together. I'd come out first and she'd come behind me. And then I made one that was side by side. So we'd both shoot together side by side. And then did the crossbow where I was on fire again as
Human Fuse.
Yeah, what's my name? Human Fuse. So anyway, I tried to be more creative than trying to go for heights and distance and
The higher you go, the farther you go, the less in control you are, which is really dangerous. You are flying through the air with no strings, so to stay tight and controlled for that long is really difficult and dangerous.
And your landing pad gets hard to line up when it gets too far away.
So if each of you can go back to before your first night of being shot out of a cannon and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
That's a good question.
Well, I was 11. The first time I shot out of a cannon was 11. So he had made a little 8-foot miniature cannon that was for a clown gag in England. So before he sent it over, he asked if I wanted to try it. And I was like, sure, of course. It was February. It was freezing cold. I only went about 18 feet, but it was so fun. I didn't actually train when I was 11. I just did 2 shots because you can't really train an 11-year-old to do that. Also, physically, you want to wait till your bones are a little bit more solid. So I didn't start actually training for it until I was 18. But I always knew that's what I was going to do.
Yeah, when Ringling shut down, Skyler just cried. She was inconsolable because she had in her brain that was what she was going to do when she got older, was to be a human cannibal on Ringling Brothers. And so when they shut down, it was like, okay, well, we can work at, independent circuses or fairs or something like that. But is that really viable, for your, career? And so we looked at colleges, we looked at, her potentially joining the Air Force. And so for several years, she was in limbo. She wasn't sure what she was going to do with her life. And then they got the call that they were putting the show back together and they wanted a cannon. They wanted Brian to provide the cannon. And Brian's like, well, actually, my daughter's 18. She would love to be the human cannibal. Would you be interested in her doing it? They were freaking out, absolutely. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so going back to the question, change anything?
What would you tell yourself? Can you remember that far back?
Not really. That was
Wow.
No, I don't know if I would change anything. It would have been nice to have somebody teach me some.
Well, give yourself advice.
Yeah, there was a lot of things I screwed up on.
But I think that made you stronger now, and you know, obviously more what to do, and only through our mistakes of with anything with the cannon, that's how we get better and better.
Yeah, like one time I flew out and I didn't flip. I'm like, whoa, what the heck happened? And next show I did the same thing. I'm like, oh crap. And all it was just a simple movement I did inside with my position before I took off. But it's like nobody tells you, nobody told me how to position to be in, what to do, where to look, so I just kind of figured it out. I was a natural acrobat, so I wasn't really worried about getting flipped over. But then when you're flying through the air and you can't flip over, that's scary. So you had to, I had to figure out what was making me do that. So things like that, I wish that I had some guidance on, which, I had to make that mistake to learn, and then I was able to pass it on to them. So that was, for me, that would be the thing.
The human crash test dummy.
Yeah. I'm the guinea pig.
For me, I think if I could go back and talk to myself before I got shot out of the cannon, I would have told myself to take it a little more seriously, because I was just kind of like, oh, it's going to be for fun. And I spent a lot of years doing it wrong and not being in the correct shape physically to do it. And then even after I got my shots so that they looked presentable for a show, I still wasn't doing the right things behind the scenes to be prepared physically to do it. And I had a lot of like chronic pain. So I had to reverse all of that and before I could get back in the cannon again. So for me, I feel like if I would have researched it a little bit better and I could have had a longer or maybe a less injured career.
I have a quick question for you, going back to the car you guys bought there. I'm sorry. Was it the one right and hooked up to the pie car? Do you remember?
I don't think so. I know that
Yeah.
the show was in Cincinnati, and this is when we were wanting to get a train car. So I went over to Cincinnati, and I knew what I wanted to have and what I needed to get it put in position where I wanted the rooms facing our pond. So that was a lot of the deciding factor, is like what fit my needs. And that car seemed to be in pretty good shape, but I don't remember if it was connected to the pie car or not.
Okay, because if
It
it
was
was
the right way.
connected to the pie car, then it was the car my partner B lived in. And if it wasn't, if it's in one,
That I stayed on.
if it's another one I'm thinking of, then our friend Eric stayed in that one. So,
Well, we know
Yeah.
like the boss clown, right?
Yeah,
Was
And
there.
the wire guy, high wire
One
guy.
of the high wire walkers was there.
Yeah, the boss clown, a BMX guy. These were the last ones that were staying in it. And then, what was his name? He was on train crew, I think. Tim.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim lived in that
Oh,
car.
Tim. Oh,
Yeah, so he was
okay.
actually
Oh, yeah.
the safety manager, safety officer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was head porter when I
Yeah,
came back. Yeah. Because I was the handyman. So I worked under them, and yeah. So yeah, I know the car. Okay, that's what I was
yeah.
curious about. So we're actually getting to that point of the show where we're running out of time. So, uh, with that said, can you tell the folks where the next Ringling performance is going to be, where they can see you perform?
So we start our tour in January. We start in Florida. We open in Tampa the first weekend of January. So I'm heading down there for 2 months of rehearsals, and then we start the 1.5 year tour.
But they have the dates online already, right?
Yeah, for the first half of the tour, all of the dates are on ringling.com.
Ringling.com, folks. You heard it right there. So with that said, I'd like to thank the audience for tuning in, and thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. It was awesome. Loved it. And with that said, until next time, we'll see you down the road.
See
All
you
right.
down the road.
See you guys.